One Piece Chapter 1070 initial spoilers are here now, in which Vegapunk explains how to replicate devil fruits. However, this chapter also explains why Vegapunk has great difficulty replicating various devil fruits. While the initial spoilers for One Piece Chapter 1070 are very brief, we will find some useful information regarding how devil fruits are replicated. The chapter begins by specifying that the chapter is entitled Strongest Humans, where the title is referring to seraphims because they are fed artificial devil fruits. Before getting into the deeper lore of devil fruits, One Piece Chapter 1070 spoilers starts off with some breathtaking action. The battle of Luffy versus Lucy continues and Lucy can't land a single hit on Luffy. Just what you should expect from Luffy's devil fruit. He is showing Lucy how overpowered he is with his awakened devil fruit. A panel from the upcoming chapter was released during the Jump Festa 2023, which shows Luffy using a new attack against Lucy, named Gomu Gomu no Don, White Rocket. The initial spoilers then claim that Vegapunk explains how to copy a devil fruit. Vegapunk was known to replicate devil fruits long before One Piece Chapter 1070 explained the process. However, there are varying levels of difficulty when dealing with all three classifications. The initial spoilers claims that zones are easy as most are based on animals. Seems like mysticals are really hard though and require special circumstances. It's a lot easier to control normal animals, but that is not the case with legendary creatures. Vegapunk did eventually figure out a way since he copied Kaido Yuo no Mi. However, more details will likely be provided when the full chapter is released, since these are only brief snippets. Meanwhile, the process is a lot more straightforward with Paramecia Devil Fruit, since it only has one specific requirement. The initial spoilers said that Paramecia just needs the lineage factor of the user. It also explains why a shark can use the powers of the Sui Sui no Mi, which currently belongs to Senor Pink of the Doflamingo Pirates. Vegapunk presumably took a sample of his lineage factor, since the pirate is under custody. Either way, it's a lot easier to replicate zones and Paramecias than Logias, the rarest class of devil fruits. However, the initial spoilers said that Vegapunk doesn't want to talk about this, as Logias are practically impossible to replicate and seems like there's a story about how he got Kizaru's. Also, Kizaru is heading toward Egghead, so this will likely be cleared up after One Piece Chapter 1070. It should be noted that all pacifistas can fire off laser beams, similar to the Pika Pika no Mi. Vegapunk definitely has some history with the enigmatic Admiral. One Piece Chapter 1070 spoilers ends with some clarification on what happened to Sentomaru after Lucy's grievous attack in the last chapter. The initial spoilers claims that Sentomaru isn't dead, but knocked out and taken to get healed, as Lucy gains control of the Seraphim. Tides are definitely turning in One Piece Chapter 1070. The Straw Hats will have to stay on the defensive for the rest of this arc. At the very least, Sentomaru managed to survive a killing blow, and he is no longer in control of the Seraphim, which is a little problematic for others. Apart from this, we know that the world government no longer has any use for Dr. Vegapunk and they want to assassinate him. Vegapunk wants to get off the island, and for that, he needs Strawhats Trust. In order to gain that, Vegapunk revealed a little bit of information about devil fruits. So it is not impossible to think that he withheld some of the information. Since Vegapunk will be accompanying Straw Hats for a little while, surely more information will be revealed not only on devil fruits, but other mysteries of the One Piece world as well. While it is good to know that the long break is almost over, this will unfortunately be the final chapter of the year. However, I believe that the continued fight and reveals will be worth it. Well, what are your thoughts about these spoilers? Share your thoughts with us in the comments. Also, I'm going to upload a lot of interesting videos from now, so stay tuned and check out my other videos till then.